you guys. We'll go ahead and get started. If you're in the back, you can go ahead and you can just be listening, and I'm gonna start going over this. I just want to be courteous of your time. I know it's whoa, there we go. It's a school night and everything else, so I'll try to get this done and quick. But I wanted to go over some information as far as athletics for this year. So let's start off with a word of prayer. Dear Jesus, I thank you for today. I thank you for the blessings you've given to us. I thank you for this school and for the opportunities it brings to these students. I just pray that you would help us this year and next year as we strive to glorify you through athletics. Help us to do that and honor you through all that we do. Pray in Jesus' name, amen. Okay, I think that's a little loud, Kyle. I'll just grab it. There were several people, and for you guys also, several people emailed me throughout the week and said, hey, I can't be there Tuesday night. We had other obligations. So I'm actually recording tonight's information so that it can go online. And then everything that you see up here will also go out on a PowerPoint presentation that you guys can have at a later date also. So don't fret if you don't get everything tonight. It'll actually go out in an email for you guys. And then at the end of it, I'll have some a question and answer session for you guys. Okay? So first thing I'd like to do is just kind of introduce our Western Christian Athletics here at Western. And so we'll go with, the first slide is going to be our fall sports. So for any of you guys that are into football, girls volleyball, boys and girls cross country, girls tennis, and cheer. Okay? Start off with these because these are going to be the ones that are going to be the important dates coming up pretty quickly. We will be off the entire month of June. CIF mandates that we take a 3-week period every summer for everybody, and you guys will hear that terminology where it's CIF, and I'll actually show you a website where you guys can go to get information. But they have to take a 3-week break during the summer. Okay, our fall sports are taking theirs during June. Now, in a minute, you'll see our winter and spring sports. They're actually taking theirs at a later date. But for the month of June, anybody that's playing in a fall sport will be off. Okay. And then, of course, the first week of July is July 4th. We, as coaches, we talked and we're like, yeah, we're not going to get the parents that mad at us and have a practice during July 4th. So the date to write down there is July 9th. Fall sports will begin July 9th of this year. Okay? We'll start practices, and that'll be for tennis, like I said, cross country, volleyball, football, and cheer. We'll start then. Games will actually start 8/13. So our first week of games will be in August. We will actually have, I counted 4 volleyball games, 3 football games, and several tennis matches that will all take place before school starts. Unfortunately, CIF is continuing to move dates up on us, and we're required to start when they start so that we can finish on time. They actually are doing that so that in years past, baseball playoffs, which are going on right now, would actually go into June past graduation. So they're trying to move every sport up to where baseball the next couple of years will be done by Memorial Day weekend. If that makes sense. But it does affect us on the other end where we actually have to start practices early. One thing I wanted to mention about any fall sports for you guys that are here for any of those fall sports, and I'll do this for all the sports, but you'll also notice if you look at your calendar that Labor Day Monday falls in our fall sports. So if you're a fall sports player or your son or daughter is, we will probably have practices on Labor Day Monday. Not over the weekend, but on Monday we will probably have practices. To give you an example, which you guys can pick up either now or later, volleyball will actually have a game the day after, on Tuesday after Labor Day. So we can't skip that practice, okay? And I know again, if that's a problem, that's something you guys can work out with coaches. But it's just, I wanted to make sure, that's one reason why I wanted to have this meeting, because there's going to be several things like that I wanted to make sure you guys are aware of before you sign that dotted line to say, yep, we're playing football. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, but wait, I'm gone 3 weeks of August. And it's like, shoot, now what do I do, right? It's better to know now and moving forward, okay? Questions with fall sports on that? Okay, the next slide is our winter sports. This is boys and girls basketball, boys and girls soccer, and you notice cheer still on the board. Just for you guys that are interested in cheerleaders cheer through fall sports season and winter sports season. So they'll still be in session. Some of the things to look at here, dead period for basketball and soccer is going to be during August. So they won't have any practices during August. Some of you guys are already on the email. If you're not, that's why I put the sign-ups back here. Right now, we're starting to have practice on Tuesday and Thursday evenings here at the gym for basketball, and they're going to be doing a summer league in Glendora so that they can get some work in over the summer. But again, August, they'll be off. Starting August 1st through the end of August, they'll be off. Same thing with boys and girls soccer. Those dates, games will actually start November 13th, so the week before Thanksgiving. Now, so far, I've been able to say we're not going to have any games during that week of Thanksgiving. I've been able to schedule around that and stuff. But I did want to bring to your attention that winter sports plays over Christmas. Okay, again, don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I want to make sure everybody understands that there will probably be practice of some sort over the Christmas break. Not the whole thing. We've talked to our coaches. We don't want to do every single day of winter break, but we want to make sure that we're getting practice in over that time. So again, if your son or daughter is saying, I want to play soccer, I want to play basketball, and you're like, but I always take off and go back east for 2 weeks during Christmas, that may be a problem this year. Just for that, because I don't want to let the say, oh yeah, come on out, and then you're telling the coach I can't be there for 2 weeks. And then there probably will be a Christmas tournament for basketball at least during this year. So so I keep saying that. So the schedules that are on the back, feel free to grab the ones that if we run out, email me. I can send you another one. But they are right now unofficial. They're 99% right in the back. Okay, I've been able, at least for the fall and winter, I've been able to nail down most of the dates for our games already. Within the next 2 weeks, I'll be able to nail down all the dates for our spring sports, but I didn't want to put those out there because I just got the league schedule yesterday. Any questions on winter sports here? No, you guys are too easy. Go ahead. The summer league schedule is not out yet. I did get us in the Glendora Summer League, and they are going to give me dates by next week as far as when they're going to be playing. What's that? It's a Glendora / Damien, so there'll be a lot of schools in that one. And again, those, just for the other basketball parents, you guys are hearing these big schools. It's like it actually is good for the basketball team. They'll play against some bigger schools. Nobody cares how they did in summer. It's all about getting them ready for the league. And playing against schools like Damien or Glendora will, when they get to our league, they'll be like, oh, this is a piece of cake. Let's play. Correct. There will be the week after Thanksgiving, there will be a tournament, and that's going to be in Laverne, actually. We're going to play at Calvary Baptist is having a tournament in Laverne. And so we're in that one, but that's the week after Thanksgiving. The first games of volleyball is actually August 16th is the first game. They can actually play games starting August 13th. But nobody wanted to play that early, so the first games we got. And volleyball is set as far as that schedule goes, except for I added one tournament to get them another game today. Go ahead. Those are the dates. So cross country is the weird one. So cross country, those are the rough dates where we're going to be running, but times and information like that haven't come out yet. They're going to get those at the end of June. So if they're going to do, but that gives you a rough idea. They'll run that many meets in about that time. Very good. Go ahead, Chuck. Tennis practice will begin July 9th. July 9th. All the fall sports will begin July 9th. And again, just so you guys know, we're like during that time we understand there's work schedules. There's the kids aren't in school yet. So up to the coaches. Like I've heard a couple of coaches talk about. Doing evening practices or morning practices, that information will come out. So if you're thinking about doing one of those, make sure to get your name on the sign-up list so that I can get that to the coaches so they can make sure you're on that email list so that we can make sure to get that out. Because, again, I understand I've been a parent like you guys. My boys all came up through here, and I want to be able to get information out to you as quickly as I can. That way, because you guys are planning vacations, you guys are planning things like that, and I want to make sure you guys hear it so you can kind of plan around that as best you can. Okay. All right, so next one is our spring sports. This is the big one. We just a lot of sports going on in the spring. You got softball, baseball, boys volleyball, boys tennis, and that's one I'll mention here in a second. Track, co-ed golf, and swimming. These start in the spring. Now, again, spring, and I'm going to tell you the first date of games now are going to be February 11th. They'll start their contest, and that's what I'm working on the next 2 weeks to get all those filled up. And then they end first, second week of May. We just finished the season last week with many of these. And again, I'm going to highlight one thing here. Spring sports carry over through spring break. So again, just know that there may or may not be a tournament for like this year, baseball had a tournament over spring break. So if you're a baseball mom or dad or a softball mom and dad, know that there could be something scheduled in there. Again, I just want to be able to do that so that nobody gets caught off by surprise. Like, what do you mean we're doing something over spring break? So spring sports do carry over spring break, and there's a lot of them here. So I wanted to highlight boys tennis for a second back there. So in the back, at the end of this thing, if you haven't done it when you came in, there's sign-up sheets in the back for the interest of the sports. This year, we actually weren't able to fill the boys tennis team because we only had 4 boys that wanted to play, and so we couldn't do it because you need 8 at least to compete. So that actually will give. So if you know of anybody that's interested, that's a good spot to get them signed up so that I can see. Okay, yeah, we may have enough, or if we get to 6 or 7, okay, how many arms do I have to go twist to say no? You really want to play boys tennis. And that's actually somewhere where you guys can help me, because I know a lot of parents have asked me on multiple times, and I missed that, and I'll go back to that. Hey, does baseball have a JV, or does basketball have a JV program? Does softball have something like that? Because I understand, too, like I said, my sons have all played through here, and it's a little scary when you're talking about, hey, I have a freshman that's never played or barely has played baseball, let's say. Do you have a JV program? My commitment to you is if we have the bodies to do it, I will find the coach, if it's me or somebody else, to have a JV program at a lot of these things, okay? Because I would want us to have a JV or varsity program at every sport. But again, say that's on your side. If you know somebody that should be playing basketball or volleyball or soccer or whatever that is, and they're not, your son or daughter can help me out by twisting their arm a little bit. No, come play with me. I really want you to play with me. Let's play this game. So far, I'll go back a little bit, but we can leave this up here. But football is looking like, I'll go back in my notes here. Football is looking like we're going to be close, okay? And what that means is if I can, and you'll hear this on a couple of these sports, if I can, we'll do a thing where some of the boys participate in a varsity game, but we play on an alternate day for a JV game. So in other words, what that would look like for football is some kids would play on a Friday night varsity game, and maybe we would play on a Saturday with the kids that didn't get to play, and some of the kids that got to play Friday night but didn't get to play a lot, if that makes sense. Girls volleyball, right now it looks like we're going to have a Frosh team, a JV team, and a varsity team. So all 3 levels, it's going to be exciting. So, and again, that's great for if you're incoming 8th grader, and you're kind of like, I don't know if I've played volleyball very much. I don't know. Perfect. You can come out and play on the freshman Frosh team. It's freshmen and sophomores that haven't played, and get some experience. Cross country is going to be just the varsity team, it looks like, unless I get several guys out. Girls tennis is going to be varsity only, unless we get a lot of girls out. Boys basketball looks like we're going to have enough for same thing, a Frosh team, a JV team, and a varsity team. That's going to be a good one for us. Girls basketball, JV, we had some numbers last year to have one, so we did. If we have the same amount of numbers, we'll have a JV and a varsity girls basketball. Boys soccer, this is where last year we had enough to do a varsity and then play alternate dates for JV. So it was pretty good. It got them a lot of experience. So we're hoping to do the same. Actually, what I'm hoping this year is because the girls varsity didn't have enough. They only had a varsity. So what I'm hoping is to get some girls out so that we can split some of them. And then the boys' side, have a few more boys come out so that we can have a full JV. But definitely looks like we'll be able to there. Spring sports, because there's so many, there will probably be just varsity in each one of the spring sports. Okay? Before I move on, any questions on spring sports? Like what that looks like, anything that you can think of for spring sports? You were going to ask me that, right? It's always right at the week after Easter. So if you look at the calendar, whatever Easter is, it's the week following Easter. We are always off Good Friday, and then we're off the following week. Over here. It's co-ed, so we have a boys team and a girls team. They go to practice together, and that's one of the sports where we practice off campus. We don't have a pool here, so what we do is every day at 3:30, swimming takes a bus to Upland High School. They share their swimming facilities with us. We swim in a couple lanes there, practice. But when they compete, the girls compete against girls teams, and the guys compete against the guys teams there. And that was actually really good, just to highlight a little bit there. First year we've had, like the year before last, we had a couple people that just went to the meets, not really a team. This year we had a full team, and one of our swimmers was just a few tenths of a second off. He actually qualified from our league to go to CIF for Southern California. That was awesome. And he was just a few tenths of a second off for qualifying to go to state. So next year, I believe Bradley will actually be able to compete at the state level for us. Same thing in track. Actually, I saw David's mom over here. Yeah, David was same thing. He qualified in track for CIF in Southern California and was just a little bit off from qualifying for state. So I got big plans for him next year to be at state. So that's going to be good. Any other questions, Spring? Yes. Golf practices at Mountain Meadows. So the same thing there every day at 3:30, the kids get into a van with Coach Levins. They go to Mountain Meadows, and they practice there. That's where our home matches are also. And then we play against other different clubs around here. Okay. And you'll notice that is, especially in the spring, several of our spring sports actually are off campus. And that's kind of the way it works. We provide transportation. So if your son or daughter's playing a sport that's not here at campus for practice, basically at 3:30 or at 3:15, they're on a bus. Let's take softball. So softball's at Greenbelt Park up here off of 15th. They will get on a bus. Bus takes them over with the coach over to Greenbelt. They do their practice at 5:30. They bus them back here to the campus, and then they're released from here. So you'd be able to just pick them up from here or drop them off. Or if they are riding a bus, there's that late bus that leaves here at 6 o'clock. So that works out for that. Okay. I'm not boring you too bad, am I? I'm not John Atwood. I don't tell too many jokes and things like that. So but I want to give you guys some information now. So now we'll go to this page. So you're going to start hearing a lot of information about CIF. What is CIF? What does that mean? So actually what you can do, if you go to this website, and we're going to pull that up, Kyle's going to pull that up, CIFSS.org, and you can go to this. There we go. You'll get to a home page that looks like this. Basically, this tells you everything that I need to know as an athletic director, and you guys can check it out and do whatever you need to do as parents. It's great information, actually, for you. So you can go, it lists all the sports that are under CIF, whether we play them or not, they're there. Under governance, it gives some sections on where you can see some of their meetings and what they talk about. Go to resources, Kyle. So here. So under this one, you can see, and if you click on Blue, or you don't have to click on it, but if you go to Blue Book, the Blue Book is what you'll hear me refer to sometime about all the rules and regulations we have to follow. So if I ever tell you we can't do that because it's against the CIF rule, whatever, this is where I'm getting the information from. So we have meetings every day. So this is a good resource. And if you'll scroll up a little bit, Kyle, so next year this is going to be applicable for us, especially for a few of our sports. Up here is the playoff brackets. So there's, if we're in baseball playoffs next year, you'll be able to go to there. You'll be able to click on your playoff bracket, get any information about who's in the bracket, who we're playing, scores, all that kind of good stuff. If you were a soccer parent, this will be where we'll go next year also for some of that. So, again, this is just one of the main, as a parent, this is one of the main sites you'd like to get to be able to see, hey, is Mr. Hargis crazy, or do we really have to follow this rule? Well, you can go here, check me out, and make sure I'm doing it right, and make sure we're following the rules on that. Okay, questions on CIF website? It's a boring one, but it's good to know. Some other websites I'm going to bring up for you guys that's kind of cool. Let's go to Max Preps now. So this is one you'll be able to see. So if you go to maxpreps.com, you're going to click on this search button. If you hit Western Christian Athletics or Western Christian High School, it's going to do a little search here. And there are 2 Western Christian high schools in the country. So we're the one in Upland. So you click. We're not in Iowa. So you'll just click on that button right there. All right. So this will bring you to every sport that we participate in. So we'll just pick one. Let's go girls soccer. Right there on the right. That's boys soccer. Maybe the girls. Yeah, right there. Okay. So then what it's going to do is bring you to that home page, and there will be our schedule, our roster, and how we stand. So click on schedule. All right. So it'll kind of give you our wins, our losses, who we played, where our games are at, anything like that. And also, if you want to click on that school, it'll tell you a little bit about that school. So it's just a fun place to go when you're in your season for sports, to be able to see, hey, how are we doing? What's going on? We're playing Mansfield Mirage next. What's Mansfield Mirage like? What are they? What are they? You can go onto their website and actually see what they are. Also, a lot of times we'll track stats through this. So if you're wanting to see, okay, how many hits did my son have this season so far? That information will be here at Max Preps. Okay. Again, it's just a fun little thing to do. How many of you guys have used Max Preps before? Oh, so you guys are definitely familiar with it. So for all the new parents, this would be definitely something you'll want to kind of log into. And then the final one that we'll go over is My WCS. Now, for parents that are already here, you guys have been in My WCS. For 8th grade parents, you guys will learn really fast My WCS. But basically, you're going to get a calendar view of all the games. Oh, there we go. So we'll just click on any of them. Okay, so this is actually from the middle school, but you click on one of them, it'll show you who we're playing, what time the game is, where it's at, and then if you go on when you get here next year, and you can click on send me text notifications. So anytime I make a change in here that says, hey, our game moved from Tuesday to Wednesday at 4 o'clock, you will get a text notification that says, hey, the game's been moved, like that. So are most of you guys familiar with My WCS? Okay. Any questions on either Max Preps or My WCS? Okay. All right, next thing I want to do is just talk about some of the clinics that we offer. Again, this is for students that haven't been here this year, and for some of you guys, this year we didn't do a great job getting these out, but one thing that I'm really striving to do is to get our athletes more and more touches or exposure to their sport. So we offering, this year we offered football clinics, some basketball clinics, soccer and volleyball clinics. And basically what we're doing is in the off season, we're able to hold some of these clinics at our either our middle school gym or here or at the fields at different places, so that let's just take like volleyball. As soon as girls volleyball season ended last year, we started some clinics that would go on over at the middle school on Tuesday nights, so they can get touches. Now the cool part about this is you got friends that you want to get here next year, and they're at whatever school, they can come attend one of these clinics. These clinics, the way, again, going back to our CF rule says that Western Christian we can't have a clinic that we support. We say, okay, this is a Western Christian high school clinic for volleyball. We can't do that. But we can partner with somebody, and they can hold a clinic. Our coaches can work for the clinic, and it's all under CIF rules. So what we do is we're able to have some of these clinics and expose kids to those touches. So they can come. So let's just say you've got a friend that's at Sandburg Junior High or at Sunrise right now. You got one that's still, a friend still there at 8th grade. You can say, hey, come to a clinic. You can see what we do, get some exposure to some of the people that are playing, and say, hey, is this really where I want to be next year? Right? Okay, that was great. That was a lot of fun. Or no, I didn't like any of the girls or the guys that were there. I'm out. That sort of thing. Hopefully, it's always a fun experience. So again, with that, if you make sure to sign up on those email lists, I'll be able to get you guys information on that so that as these become available, you guys will be on the list to do that. And that's what the clinics look like this year when we send out the email. Questions on clinics or anything? Go ahead. What's that? There will be, I'm working on what that looks like because we'll try to get something to where they can have some speed classes or something like that on there. And again, if any of you guys know of people, I'm always looking for that sort of thing. So if you know of a good soccer coach or a good sprint coach or something like that, if we can get that going, then definitely we'll have as many as we can get coaches for sure. Questions on that? Okay. On to multiple sports and events. So one highlight that here for Western, some of you parents that are here know that you're already here, have seen, and some of the new parents, I really want to highlight this here for us. Okay, one thing that makes us a little bit different is we're able to do some of this for our athletes. This year I had three boys volleyball players that were in the spring musical. Now, a lot of times that's impossible. Practices right after school, that sort of thing. Well, me and Mrs. Ward talked, and we're like, hey, I'll move practice to 5:30 to 7:30. You can have practice for your play right after school, and the boys can do both. It was awesome because the boys were able to participate in both things. I've had football players. Gavin's one of them. I mean, he'll do the fall. It's not a musical. I'll put musical up here, but it's the fall play, and he'll do that and play football. And again, we work with those to where they can do both. We have some athletes that are able to do basketball, football, and volleyball. And I'll share with you guys right now. I have 2 kids transferring in from another school right this year that are coming up, and that's one of the main reasons. They were told at the other school, I'm not going to mention names, but they were told, oh, yeah, you can, no problem. Well, guess what? Basketball and football practice were at the exact same time every day. So you can play, but when are you going to practice the other one? It was like, so they had to make a choice, and he really wants to play both. So that student is actually transferring in here because he says, I want to play football and basketball. Well, here, you can do that. And our coaches work extremely well together to say, hey, like right now we're doing some football spring training with the kids, and we're also doing basketball practice for, like I said, for the summer. And coaches have talked, and so they're going Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday so that the boys, if they really want to do both, they can get to both and everything. And then we also have some students that have done volleyball, basketball, and track. So we encourage that. And again, I know for your parents, because I've been there, I had 2 sons that did multiple sports. It can get a little rough as far as making sure they're staying on their homework and making sure they're doing that stuff. But we also do that. We work extremely well with our guidance department to make sure. Mrs. Boyd is amazing. She will flag me down in the middle of school and says, hey, we need to talk about so-and-so. Okay. And it's like, so then we'll sit down and make a game plan for that, to where that's like that student may miss a couple practices because Mrs. Boyd needs to see them, and we need to make sure that's correct. So questions on multiple sports, multiple events, anything like that your students will be doing? Okay. All right, so our last page, and then I'll kind of bring it to an end here. Weight training. If you're incoming 8th grade or freshman that's going to be a sophomore or anything, I really want to encourage you guys to take weight training class. Or take a summer school class so you can take weight training during the school year. It's beneficial. We just redid our weight room last year, and there's actually some things I'm going to add at the beginning of this year, hopefully, to this. I saw a benefit in several athletes because they need to be able to get their weight room stuff in to where they're bigger, faster, stronger in their season. But it's tough because they've got all the schoolwork, they've got some practices, they've got to get things done. This allows them to be able to get that done and then get on with the rest of their stuff during that day. And the people that teach the weight training class definitely know what they're doing, so we're not going to put them into the weight room and, all right, good luck. Let's see what happens. Here's 300-pound squat. They actually work with them to make sure that they're understanding the right way to do that. Questions on anything in weight room there? Because I know that's a big one. It is offered for girls, too. And again, parents of girls and girls, don't be afraid of the weight room thing. You're not going to lift a few weights and all of a sudden look like, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything. You're going to it's going to help you stay healthy. I can tell you right now, one of my sons, actually, all my sons came through here, but one of them really took advantage of the weight room procedures here, and it was the main reason I feel like he was able to play all 4 years and had very little injury coming through here. So during the day, the advantage of the weight training during the day is like because the coaches will take them in there sometime, but the coaches will then if they have practice time, they will take them in there. If they're trying to do something else, they'll have to skip weight training to get onto the field or whatever. It just gives them an opportunity to be able to tell, get your weight stuff done during weight training, and then when you're on the field, we can get out on the field. And again, what I'm working on to improve this area is being able to have the coaches tell the weight training person, hey, for volleyball, I want you to make sure to do these lifts. For baseball, let's make sure we get this stuff in. Football, we really need to make sure we get this in, and then kind of tailor that to each student athlete. Question. I know this is a big one because a lot of parents are a little bit afraid when it comes to weight room stuff, because a lot of injuries can occur there. So if you have any questions, make sure let me know. Okay. So last couple things I want to make sure you guys take advantage of. Sports physicals are going to be next Monday and Tuesday. Now, you don't have to come to the sports physical here, but I would highly recommend it because we're going to go from 4 to 6 next Monday and Tuesday, the 21st and 22nd of May, here at the gym. I've got a group that's coming in. They're going to charge us $15 per student to do that. If you go to your doctor, it's $20, $30 copay or whatever. And then the thing about the doctors is a lot of times they space out their physicals, so you may have to wait 2 to 3 weeks. Physicals are extremely important because they have to have their physical in before they can practice. So let's go back to our fall date, 7/9. That's early, right? If you miss next week on the physicals, that means sometime in June you got to get that physical to me so that they can participate. And again, that's not my rule. That's the CIF says they can't start practice until I have that piece of paper. They can go out and watch. They can come out and sit on the sideline, but they can't participate in practice until I have that paper. The other good part about doing it in next week is that every physical is good for a calendar year. So if you do it next week, well, it's good until next year at this time. Well, guess what? All the sports just ended, correct? So it's entire year. So if your son or daughter, that's the ones that always get me is, hey, we're only baseball. We're not going to play until next February. I'll worry about it over Christmas. Well, then it ends up you forget, and then it's like first week of February, you're like, oh my goodness, I got to go get a physical, and you're calling, make some phone calls. Do it now, and I'll have it already in, and you'll be good to go. So that's next Monday and Tuesday, 4 to 6. Okay. Questions on physicals? Just come in, and I have some forms online you can have, or I will have the forms here for everybody, so you don't have to actually have the form. If they're going to come on their own, they need to have that paper already filled out, which I can give you, because I've already had a couple parents say, hey, yeah, it's online. Over there. It'd be at the gym. It'd be inside the gym next week. And again, it's not mandatory. I mean, it's not if you don't make that, you won't play. It just means you'll be on your own to make sure the physical gets done. Okay. So the second thing that I'm going to need that I didn't put back here on the table because I'm redoing it. This is one thing that you'll need to have next year. It's a student parent handbook. And it just kind of goes through everything that I just kind of talked about, some of the rules about playing at Western Christian. The reason I'm not handing it out tonight is I started, handing it out all year for all you guys to sign, and I started reading it about a month ago, and I'm like, there's some weird stuff in this thing that doesn't even apply anymore. So, okay, we're going to rewrite this over the summer, and you guys will have a copy of this. So, but I just want you guys to be aware that's one document. There's 2 documents that I need before your son or daughter can participate this year. It's going to be the student handbook, and on the back there's a page to sign. That has to be turned in, and then the sports physical. Questions with that? Okay. Again, you guys are making this way too easy for me. Okay, so on the back table, then I'll mention this, and then we'll have some questions and answers, and if we're done, I'm going to let you guys go. Back on the table, I started on the far left over here. We've got cheer, football, cross country, girls tennis, girls volleyball, girls soccer, boys soccer, girls basketball, all the way down, and the last one's boys tennis. It's a sign-up sheet. All I want to know is hey, what are you guys thinking about playing? Again, this helps me to kind of get a gauge of, okay, do we really have enough guys soccer already interested to maybe look at that? Or do I need to start going twisting some arms? The second thing it does is I will get that information to your coaches. So if it's, basketball, I'm going to say, hey, this person, here's the sign-up sheet, coach. Make sure you contact and put these guys on the mailing list so that you guys can get everything you need to know. And then also in the back, I put some of the physical forms back over here on the desk too. Again, if you can't make it, and your son can still make it, your daughter, if you fill out the this side and sign it, then the doctor will do this side and we'll be good to go. And then I also put my card back there. Again, as some of you parents know that have been here this year, I'm always available to answer questions for you guys. That's part of what I do. That's part of why I get a kick out of watching these guys play and make sure everything runs right. So I put a card. Feel free to take my card. My cell phone number is on there. My email address is on there. I'll give you a hint. If you really want to talk to me, don't call my desk phone because I'm never there. And I usually check it once every other day to see messages, and I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of messages. If you email me, because it goes directly to my phone, or call me, or text me. I respond to text, and some of these parents can attest to. I don't sleep a whole lot, so you can text me early. You may get a text back at 4 a.m. It's just the way I operate. So, but feel free, because the main thing I want to make sure is that you guys are comfortable with what you see here and what you experience at Western Christian. You guys are entrusting us with your kids, okay? And I want to make sure that we do a good job making sure that we respond to that you always feel comfortable and you always have the knowledge you need to make sure you're making a good decision. So, again, whether it's, hey, I had a question about, hey, this practice didn't go great, or this season, or whatever that looks like for your student athlete, I want to make sure that we get that answered and any information back to you so that you can feel good about what's going on. Because if you feel good about it and your son or daughter are having a good time, and that's just going to make the whole team experience that much better. Okay? So with that, I'll just open it up. If you guys got any questions on anything as far as anything that happens at Western Christian Athletics this next year, let's shoot right now. Go ahead. Usually, girls soccer ends the end of February. Their last game will be the end of January, 1st of February. But they're another team that will, and you'll hear me say this a lot of times, they will probably make playoffs next year. So they'll probably be in the playoffs for a couple of weeks after that point. But somewhere around mid-February, they'll be done. It's a sports medicine group out of Pomona. You know what? I'll send that out in the email, because actually, again, I'm videoing this and I'm gonna send this out to everybody, so I'll put that in there. It's a group out of Pomona. They're health services out of there. Other questions, real quick? No. No. Thank you. Thank you. Well, again, it's my pleasure, because this is exciting for me. I get to get up here and I get to do this for a living. I get to go watch, make sure the kids have a good time in athletics, and I appreciate that. So thank you. Back here. That will be 5 days a week. Now, again, that is the coaches will at times say, hey, you guys had a great week. We're going to take Friday off. And I also know that because this is the first year CAF has moved it up even 1 week earlier, some of you guys may have already had, like, oh, man, we got a vacation already planned last week of July. As soon as you can, make contact with that coach and say, hey, this is a situation that we have, okay? Now, what we'll do, hopefully, we're going to get better at this every year, and you guys will know, like, say, let's just say we have a girls volleyball player, and she's like, this year we didn't know we have to have our vacation planned that 1 week. And then next year, hopefully, because it should mirror, now the CF has moved everything up enough on all the sports, this should be the way it is for the next few years. So plan on, if you have a fall athlete next year, we'll be off again in June. We'll start up sometime first part of July and go right on through. Good question. Go ahead. Right. couple ways we're doing that is if you notice last year for football, we did it in a couple other sports, is at least one night during the week we will actually move practice till 5:30 to 7:30. And we do that for a couple of different reasons. Every football game that we play starts at either 6:30 or 7. They play under the lights. They do all that stuff. So we'll have a one practice a week underneath the lights. They get used to playing underneath the lights. But the other thing that we tell the boys and girls in their sports is use that time. If you've got to make up a test, if you've got to do something, that's the day to do it. We're going to practice late on Tuesday. It may change this year, but like last year it was Tuesday. So we told them on Tuesday, make sure you set up your test that you need to take. Now, if the teacher says there's no way I have to have them here on Thursday, then they just need to let Coach know. Coach, I've got to get to math today. And again, it's all up to the student athlete, because I've seen over this past year and years past when I've been here, some student athletes are very good. They'll go right to take care of their math paper. They'll get it done, immediately run over, get changed, and get onto the field as soon as they can. And they don't miss much. Other student athletes you watch, and you're like, come on, come on, because they'll dilly, and then actually the best story we had, one student athlete, I would watch him, he'd go to math, and then he would look out the window like, okay, they're just about done running. Okay, I'm done. And then he would run out and then get changed and come on out. So don't be that guy, but we do work with them. Again, basketball practices sometimes will be are in the evening. And again, we do rely on the student athletes, and we're partners with you guys. So if like on that one night, if you can encourage them too, to say, hey, I know you on Tuesday, I know you have late practice, get some help, because I know you're struggling in math. Make sure to get over there. We're partners on that, because if they don't, sooner or later, Mrs. Boyd's going to come see me and say, hey, Mike, I need to see him. Get him over here. But again, we definitely understand, because, again, they just to mention that, I'm glad you brought that up. 2.0, they have to have a 2.0 to play sports, and we do grade checks every so often. Last thing I want to do is to have to go out there to the coach and say, hey, you got two players they can't practice or play for the next 6 weeks because they're ineligible. So I'd rather have them be late to one practice and be eligible than make them practice the whole time, and all of a sudden they're gone for 6 weeks, for sure. There's a question in the back? No, it's not all day. So we're working on right now. We'll either be in the morning or in the evening. We won't practice during the heat of the day. And in fact, there will be some days where we'll have to cancel practice, because there's also CF mandated things where if it gets too hot over a certain temperature, we're not allowed to practice. Or certain days where it's the air is unhealthy, we won't be able to do it. Now, we may do something where we do a weight room day that day instead, go to the weight room, do something. And all that will be coming out as soon as I get information as far as we're going to practice early in the morning or late at night. Two-a-days will probably be that first week of August, and what that means is, and some other sports will do that, where they'll practice twice during the day. And again, that's something where we'll do early morning, give them a break, and then come back in the evening time. Volleyball will do some sort of something that looks like that, but the same thing off and on. Volleyball, I know, will do something where they practice in the morning, and then they'll have a summer league they're going to play in a couple of nights a week. Okay. That's also one that's coming out within the next 2 weeks on when and where. I know we'll be in a summer league for volleyball and for basketball. We'll also have some passing league information for football, and all that's getting finalized within the next couple weeks. Oh, that's a good question for Coach. But I like to see, and I look at volleyball and basketball very similar, I like to see it to where around the 12 mark, 12 to 50, because I don't want to have, and this is, again, I know in the years past, if they didn't have a coach, they would stick 15, 16 people on a team because that's all they had. My commitment to that is once we get to that number, let's start making it a JV program too, to where we can get those kids on the court. Because the last thing we want to do is have a team of 15 or 16 and 8 of them never see the court, and it's not a fun year for them. I'd rather see them on a court on a JV level. But usually around 12 for volleyball is what I think he carries. We do. We are definitely going to have 3 teams. So there'll be a Frosh team, a JV team, and then a varsity team. And I've actually already got I've got a full schedule for JV and varsity, and I've got a 80% full schedule for Frosh teams. So we may add 1 or 2 more Frosh games in there for that. Do not play over Thanksgiving. Well, they may practice once or twice in the beginning of that week, but they're not going to have a game. I was able to, because we're actually starting games before Thanksgiving, but I was able to work out some stuff where we're playing a couple games before that. We're playing right after that, so we're going to not play on Thanksgiving week. Now, the coaches may decide to have a practice like Monday or Tuesday, but no games over that period. Now, Christmas, different story. I know they're going to be probably in some kind of tournament. Thank you. Actually, we're going to be at the next few events, we're going to be offering sports cards. So if you're a parent and you want to, instead of just paying when you come in at the gate every single time, we're going to have a sports card that's good for all the different sports, right? So it's good for basketball, football, volleyball, and it's a little punch card. So you just come in, you get it punched, and then how much is it, Rita? Okay, if you use it every time, yeah. So there'll be some things like that'll be coming out, and we'll be selling those pretty soon too. We are doing the tailgate, and that'll be coming out also. If you guys during the football season, we sold tailgate spots for watching the football game. It turned out really good. We'll be doing a very similar way we did last year with football. Yes, and what I meant by taking during the summer is like, for instance, this is actually what my son did. He would take a history class during the summer, and then that left him one open class during the year, and he would put weight training in that. So that way he always had weight training. Yeah. Not unless they're on the team. Now, if the coach takes them in there and has something for them to do, they'll go in there, but they just can't go in on their own. Again, it's all about safety, and I don't want all of a sudden you walk in there and there's 20 kids throwing weights around. You're like, wait. So if the coach as a team goes in there, which they have done, like during this past year, the baseball coach, even during October, November, before baseball season, he'd have them meet them in there twice a week, do a weight training program so they get them a little stronger for the season. They'll do that, but then they also can do it during weight training class. Good question. Okay. Anything else? Yes, right. We are looking for the head football coach right now. We actually have hired a good group of assistants, and it's been Coach Dan. You want to raise your hand? He's one of our assistant coaches back there. Practice has been going amazing this last week with this group of assistants. We are looking for a head football coach right now. I've got it narrowed down, and I'm almost there. We're also in the last processes of our cheering coach also. And again, that's my commitment to you guys also, just so you guys know as parents. I take it very seriously. I want to make sure, I've said this before, I want to make sure that when your son and daughter comes into Western Christian and then they graduate from here, I want to make sure that they are a better Christian, student athlete, and athlete when they leave here. All three. I want them to be able to be prepared to go out into college. I want them to be ready down that road to being a good man and daughter of Christ. That's my goal. And so anytime I feel like that's not happening, we will be on the lookout for new head coaches when that happens, just because that's my commitment to you guys as parents. I want to make sure that we put our best foot forward on that in every area that we do, whether it's how we prepare for a game, how we present ourselves as coaches, how we prepare your students in the classroom, whatever that looks like. We want to make sure we're putting our best foot forward. Okay. Oh, one more. Oh. Good question. Thank you. That's one of the most important things. So the sports fees next year will be $340, and what that covers is 220 of that or 210 of that goes to pay for officials, coaches, things like that. 130 of that, 210 and 130 goes for what we call a spirit pack. So they'll get T-shirts to wear to practice. They'll get some polos to wear on game days. I am changing that this year. This past year, we kind of made it loosey-goosey where different sports had different things for game day. Now we may let them do like a uniform one time, but I'm going to have a polo for them so that they can. It was, you can speak to this as a teacher. It was kind of like, wait, what's game day dress today? I don't know, and so we didn't know whether to give a dress code violation or not. So we're going to make it uniform on the game day things. But that 340 covers that. And when does that do? And that's a good question. So this is where we're going to cover that this year. Right before the season starts, so like right now we're getting ready to that July mark, we'll start having tryouts. You'll see something that we'll call tryouts for the teams. Once tryouts are set and your son or daughter is on the team, then we'll have a week window in there to say, okay, yeah, I don't want to play, or the coach can say, this is during the tryout period. We're going to have a week there where the coaches, that your son or daughter can come out, all of a sudden they're day 2, they're like, oh, this is not for me. I don't want to play. Okay, boom, they're gone. And our the coach says, okay, yeah, we're gonna get down to our 12. I had to cut 3, whatever that looks like. At the end of that week, then I'll send an email out that says, hey, congratulations, you're on the team, you're on the volleyball team. At that point, the sports fees due. And then what I'll normally do is like we did this year. Some of you guys probably saw the emails go out for the spring sports. There will be it's due then. You don't have to necessarily pay it right then, but you can work with Chella to get it paid. Who's our in accounts payable, and then at a certain point though, I'll say, okay, for fall sports, after September 4th, if it hasn't been paid, we won't be able to play your child. So that's kind of the way it works on that. So I give like a month window because again, as long as it's being worked out with her, you can pay it all during the year with her, and she just tells me, yep, they're good to go. We've made a plan together. We also get that. That's a big commitment also. But the other thing about that is, what I want to say is, after that week window, if you're on the team, then that's when I use my account for that sports fee. So let's go through and say, hey, I made the football team and I'm on. And so, but a month in, I don't like it anymore. I'm going to quit. So 2 things I'm going to mention on that, and that'll be in this handout or this student handbook once you get it. A month into football, I don't want to play anymore. It hurts. I don't want to play. You quit. Well, it does 2 things. Still the sports fee is due. So if you haven't paid it, it's still due, because we actually have been paying refs and paying coaches out of that money. So we'll still need to get that back. And the other thing that does here at Western is if you quit a sport like that, and I'm not talking about tryouts. So you come out and try out for a couple of days and you decide I'm not going to play, that's one thing. But if you've been in for a couple weeks, a month, and you're like, no, not for me anymore, then we don't allow you to play the next season. So the next group of seasons. So if like my football player says, yeah, I'm out, I'm not going to play. Hey, it's soccer time. I'm going to come out for soccer. Sorry, you can't play. I know that sounds rough, but it's just our way of saying, look, we value commitment. We value you being here, and the coaches have put a lot of time and effort during that month that you were trying to be there. So it's like we want to make sure you don't do that again and decide, oh, yeah, soccer's really not for me either after a month, sort of thing. So. I'll have to ask Coach on that one. I don't know when those are due. And again, anytime we run a clinic or a special out of season type thing like a summer league for this, those costs will be on top of that cost. That'll be, and all we do there is we're just trying to cover the cost of going to the league. So, but those are separate. Questions? All right. Well, over here. If you go to my WCS, they're there. And and again, if you can't find it there, email me. I'll show you how to get there. Or like I said, we have them here in the office. Mrs. Callow in the attendance office has them. We can get them to you. So, and if you come to those next Monday and Tuesday, if you come, I'll have a bunch of blank forms for you there. If you just can't find them, they'll be there already. Okay. All right. Well, it's getting warm. I don't want to keep you guys too late. If there's no other questions, we'll close. But I want to make sure. Again, if you get home and you go, oh, I forgot that question, email me. Give me that question, and then we'll get it back out there. Also, like I said, this video and then also everything that we put on here will be going out in an all-school email. So if you forgot something, you can look to that. Okay. Hopefully, I covered everything and didn't bore you too bad. Like I said, we'll bring Mr. Atwood up next time for some jokes or something and make it a little bit more enjoyable. But I'll go ahead and close this in prayer, and then make sure to, on the way out, either sign up, and I'll be around for a few minutes to answer any questions, okay? All right. Father, again, I thank you for today. I thank you for all the blessings you've given to us. I just thank you for these parents and their willingness to bring their kids up here to play sports, and I pray that you would just help us to have a good year next year. Help us to glorify you in all that we do, that we can work hard, we can compete hard, and that we can be humble in our wins and devoted to our team, and that we can just stay on mission for the school. And pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, guys.